Hello, 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 and welcome back to Grace in the In Between. My name is Lindsay, and I'm so glad you've joined me today. Isn't it strange how quickly our hearts can change? One moment, we are counting down the days, and before we know it, we are quietly wishing that time would stand still. This week marks the beginning of summer for us here in Dubai. And if you're a teacher listening, you'll probably understand exactly what I mean when I say we've been counting down to this break for months. This year it's been a full one and a very weird one. It's been exhausting in ways I don't think any of us expected. And many of us have reached this holiday feeling like we just need to breathe again. We tell ourselves, once the holidays come, I'll finally rest, I'll feel like myself again. But here's what I've been realizing this week. As we were saying our goodbyes and people were sharing what they're doing with their holidays and all the things, I realized that not everyone is walking into the same season carrying the same things. Because for some, the summer's filled with excitement and holidays and travel and slow mornings and long evenings. And for others, it's a reminder of how quiet life has become. And then there are those of us somewhere in the middle. That's where I am. For the next 2 weeks, all three of my daughters are home in one place at the same time. But honestly, I feel a little cheated because I spent the last 2 weeks working right up until the end of term. So the time I thought I'd have with them, I didn't quite get. And now the clock is already ticking, and I'm sitting here thinking, we only have just under 2 weeks before they need to leave. Just 2 weeks. And every day that passes feels like it should count for something magical and extraordinary, like I should be doing something meaningful with every hour, because the hours are slipping through my fingers faster than I can hold them. The house is full right now. There's laughter in the kitchen. Conversations are happening all at once. And those little ordinary moments I know I'll miss even before I've realized they're gone. We were driving to church, all of us in the car together. The music was playing, and without really thinking about it, I reached over and turned it down. Not because I didn't like the music, but because all three girls were talking over one another, laughing, teasing each other, telling stories. And I just wanted to listen. As I sat there driving, I suddenly had this flashback. It must have been 10, 15 years ago. We were in my faithful Toyota. They were very little then. Their voices were higher. The conversations were sillier. And they were laughing at something completely ridiculous. And for just a second, it was like those memories sat on top of each other. Same laughter, same girls, different season. I realized then these moments have always been passing. I just didn't know it at the time. And maybe that's why the summer feels so precious. Because at the end of these 2 weeks, life will return to normal. My eldest daughter, who lives only 10 minutes away, she has her own place, her own job, her own life. And honestly, we barely see each other as it is, even though she's just 10 minutes away, but somehow life still gets in the way. My middle daughter's heading back to university in South Africa, and my youngest is moving 18 hours away by plane. 18 hours. That's not a quick trip. That's an intentional visit. That's planning and saving and making it happen on purpose. And I haven't even synced our calendars yet. Actually, I'm putting it off because I'm not sure if I'm ready to see what the numbers say. Because there's a very strong possibility that it could be a year before we are all in the same place again. And as long as I don't open that calendar, I don't have to sit with that reality just yet. So we're not looking ahead. We're just trying to be here, right now, in these days. Yet at the same time, there's this quiet sadness that sits around right alongside that joy. I've been counting the hugs. I don't mean to, but I am. Because every goodbye feels like one fewer left before the next time. And only God knows whenever that is. And that thought catches me off guard every single time. And I'm so incredibly proud of each of them. I couldn't be more excited to watch them step into the lives that God has prepared for them. Because that is what every parent hopes for, isn't it? We pray that our children will grow up to be independent, courageous, kind, and God-fearing. That they'll find their purpose, build lives they love and are proud of, and have the confidence to step into whatever God has planned for them. And then one day, you wake up and you realize those prayers are being answered. And while your heart couldn't be happier for them, it also quietly realizes that life is changing. And maybe that's what this season has been teaching me. Sometimes life asks us to hold joy and sadness in the very same hand. Maybe that's where you find yourself today too. As I was sitting with all of this, I couldn't help but think about the Israelites. We often think the hardest part of their story was leaving Egypt, but I don't think it was. I think the hardest part was everything that came after. They had been set free, but they hadn't yet arrived in the promised land. They weren't where they had been, but they weren't where they were going either. They were in the in-between. And I know we've all found ourselves in a season of waiting, of change, of uncertainty. So we know exactly what that feels like. And that's exactly where God met them. Every single morning, He provided manna from heaven. just enough for that day. Not enough for next week, not enough for next month, just enough for today. And when some of them tried to gather extra for tomorrow, it went rotten, it spoiled. And I wondered why God did that. Because it would have been so much easier to give them enough for the whole week. But maybe God wasn't just teaching them how to trust Him. Perhaps He was teaching them how to live one day at a time. How to wake up each morning and say, God, thank you for today. Just today. Because isn't that where so many of us struggle? We're physically here, but mentally, we're already somewhere else. We're thinking about Christmas, next year, the next chapter. And while we are so busy preparing for tomorrow, we quietly miss the gift of today. Now, I will put my hand up here because I am naturally someone who cannot live one day at a time. My mind is usually 6 months ahead, sometimes a year, maybe 2. I'm already thinking about what comes next, trying to work out how everything is going to fit together while I'm supposed to be sitting at the dinner table, being present with my girls. And this week I was chatting to my mom about exactly that. We laughed because we realized we're exactly the same. I get that from her actually. We both have this habit of trying to solve tomorrow before we've even finished today. So there we were, 2 women, my mom and I, sitting there on the phone, trying to plan the future, while saying at the same time how we need to stop planning the future. The irony was not lost on us. But somewhere in the middle of that conversation, my mom caught herself and she was like, okay, you know what? I've actually been telling myself, you know what? We just need to take it one day at a time. And isn't that exactly what God was teaching the Israelites? He didn't give them tomorrow's manna. He gave them today's. Not because He didn't want them to worry, but because He wanted them to trust. And perhaps that's what He's gently reminding us too. Today is enough. Not because tomorrow doesn't matter, but because today is the only day we've actually been given. Jesus says it simply in Matthew. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. And I don't think Jesus was telling us not to prepare for the future. Planning is wise. We all need to plan. Looking ahead isn't wrong, but living there is. Because how often do we miss today's blessings because we're already carrying tomorrow and next week's burdens? We borrow worries that haven't even arrived yet. We rehearse conversations in our mind that may never, ever happen. And we imagine outcomes that we cannot control. And before we know it, we've spent today somewhere else entirely. So as I head into the next 2 weeks with my girls, I don't want to spend every moment thinking about that airport drop-off. I want to hear their laughter. I want to enjoy the ordinary conversations that go nowhere, but that mean everything. I want to sit around the table just a little longer. I want to thank God for the gift of having them home today, instead of grieving that they won't be here tomorrow. Because one day, these ordinary moments will become the memories I treasure most. And it's not going to be those big days that I'll remember. It'll be the kitchen conversations. It'll be the bursts of laughter in the car rides, the conversations that start with, remember that time when you fell? Those inside jokes that probably didn't even make sense. Or just waking up, sitting in the lounge with our coffees in our hands, and just being together. Those are the moments that become precious. And I wonder what that looks like for you today. Maybe your children are still little enough to ask you to play one more game. Maybe your parents are only a phone call away. Maybe your husband or your wife is sitting across from you every evening and every morning, but somewhere between work and responsibilities, you've forgotten to really see each other. Or maybe this season looks completely different. Maybe you're spending the summer on your own. The house feels quieter than you hoped. Everyone else seems to have plans while you're simply trying to make it through one day at a time. These ordinary days, these slow mornings, these quiet evenings, these cups of coffee, these walks, these tears, these moments of laughter. This is where God is. Because so often we keep waiting for the next chapter, while God keeps meeting us in the page we are already living. And maybe that's the beauty of the in-between. It's discovering that God's presence isn't waiting for us at the destination. He has been walking with us all along. So as we come to the end of today's episode, I want to leave you with just one thought. Don't rush this season. Whatever it looks like for you, whether your home is full of laughter or filled with quiet, whether you're surrounded by people you love or learning to navigate life on your own, whether you're celebrating something beautiful or carrying something heavy, don't be so busy waiting for the next chapter that you miss the one you're living now. Because this moment, this ordinary, seemingly uneventful moment, is still a gift. Maybe today is the day your child asks you to play one more game and you say yes. Maybe today is the day you call your parents just to hear their voice. Maybe today is the day you finally sit and watch the sunset instead of rushing onto the next thing. Or maybe today is simply the day you take a deep breath, thank God for His faithfulness, and remember, His grace is enough for this moment. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. So wherever you find yourself, may you receive today's manna. May you embrace today's grace. And may you trust that the same God who is with you in this moment is already waiting for you in tomorrow. One day at a time, sweet Jesus. One day at a time. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. And if this episode encouraged you, share it with someone who needs the reminder to slow down. Sometimes the simplest message arrives at exactly the right moment. And you can still find me on Instagram and Substack, where I share weekly reflections and little reminders of God's faithfulness in the ordinary moments of life. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. And I'll be speaking to you very soon.